Welcome back, guys. I want to go close and personal now. Joe, I know, I just happen to know that you are somewhat of an angel investor. And I just wanted to understand, you know, a lot of the times, because of the kind of investors that I deal with, they want mature companies that have track record, you know. And if somebody comes with an idea and it's an entrepreneur who has psych and has, you know, is brilliant, the fact that they don't have track record becomes a challenge. So what I want to hear from you is, what do you look for in an entrepreneur before you decide to invest in their business?
So primarily, I look at the entrepreneur. I look at the person. You know, whatever idea you have in a business, it transforms and morphs into something else, usually very quickly. If you look at Google, which is one of the most successful businesses, when they started, they wanted to find out which is the most important book in the world. So they would look at the back of the books and look at the citation and find out which book has been cited the most, and then they were going to come up with which is the most important book. Okay. But that business failed because books were not digital. Yeah. So someone told them, well, why don't you try websites? Find out which is the most important website. So they started ranking the websites. And guess what? They are Google today. Almost $800 billion market cap. Yeah. So ideas change. But is the person who is taking that idea, trying to grow that business, committed? Do they want to transform the world? Do they want to just make money? What is their drive? So you have to look at that. They need to be, in my view, generalists, not specialists. Because when someone is a specialist, they only know how to use, say, a Kodak camera. If a new one comes in that's a Nokia one, then maybe they won't know what to do with it. So you want someone that's flexible. It's about the idea and what they want to deliver, and then what's in their heart. Are they people you can trust? Are they people you can work with? Because you can have the best idea in the world, but the chemistry is bad, and you end up nowhere. So I look at those first, and then you look at the idea itself. Does it make sense? Can it scale? Is it too expensive? How is the money going to be made? Is there some interesting IP or intellectual property that is coming out of that business? Are they really solving a real problem? Or are they copying something in the West and thinking that they can bring it here and then... And you'll find that most of these businesses are very... If they're the right ones, there's always a risk. But the opportunity is huge. So the ones I've invested in, and now I can't invest as much as I would want, because now in government everybody's focusing so why they are. So now we have to, in fact, I'm spending more of my savings than I should have, although it's a different environment. But I think there's such a huge opportunity for investors today to come and go alongside the young people, young businesses. They have great ideas, but they need to now show them what are the ropes, how to actually grow and scale that business, and it works. So many of the businesses I have invested in, it has required sitting down and sharing experience, giving advice, really mentoring and working together, and then you make money. There's actually a lot more money, in my view, on the tech businesses than in properties. But it's just that people haven't quite grasped and understood, and we need many examples. We need a few unicorns. These are billion-dollar valued businesses, and I'm hopeful we will see a few of those come out of Kenya very, very quickly. Yeah.
Fantastic. I think I have one more. So one of the biggest issues, because I've been involved in a couple of ICT or tech businesses looking to fundraise, is valuation. They're usually like, my business is worth $400 million shillings or $4 million, and they started a few months ago. Because for them, they're like, it's intellectual property. I have spent time building this app or building this technology, and so it's worth X. And the investors are just like, by the way, have you sold? Are you making profit? You know, they're so far, their sales are 100,000 and they want to generate 400 million as value. How do you bridge that gap between the tech owner or the technology entrepreneur and the investors?
I believe it's probably our number one challenge, this issue of valuation. And valuation, unfortunately, people take now businesses that have worked outside and are valued at billions, and they say they're building the same in this market. So they're not customizing it to our market and the situation in our market. So if you look at the property market, say in the US and others, it's not growing at the same rate our property market here is growing. Therefore, when you start saying that your business is valued at X, are you able to show that it will grow that way? So they give you a huge valuation, but if you look at the bottom line, you look at the profitability, you look at the assets they're buying, it's not always showing. And therefore, an investor will look at that and say, but if I bought land, I am assured this is the amount that will grow. So they need to look at their business and say, I, as an investor, I'm looking at maybe land versus this tech company. Which one would I invest in? They forget that competition here is in many other industries, not just in the tech sector. And the tech sector hasn't grown to the level that it is. So the challenge of valuation will continue, but I think it's just an experience thing. Over time, people begin to understand the value of the money that is coming in, and then see how they can grow with that. Experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So thanks, guys. If you have any questions, don't keep them tech, just money-wise questions. I will be happy to answer. And if there's any other questions that you have, I can probably request the ministry to indulge us. And please go ahead and ask, and let's see if we can get some help where that's concerned. Otherwise, do stay well, and God bless you. Bye.